Every year, the major golf OEMs, TaylorMade, Titleist, Callaway, spend millions of dollars to convince you that this year's new driver is going to be 10 yards longer than last year's. And golfers want to believe this. But in this video, I'm going to explain to you why that simply isn't true, with one exception. When I talk to golfers about new golf clubs, the most common thing I hear is, "I want the newest technology." And this is driven by all that marketing, all the buzzwords, all the made up terms like twist face and AI 10x face. But golfers rarely stop to ask the question, what do all these words even mean? What is any of this going to do for me out on the golf course? So I want to start by going through the 4 major categories of innovations that golf companies talk about and what they actually do for you on the golf course. The first big piece of technology that lots of golf companies like to promote is new materials or multi-material construction. If we go back in history, golf clubs were made of woods. That's why we call fairway woods woods. They were made of solid persimmon. Then we got the revolution that was big metal hollow drivers, metal woods. Now we have multi-material drivers. Most drivers these days are made of some combination of titanium and carbon fiber. So this PXG driver has a carbon fiber crown. Most drivers today have carbon fiber crowns at least. There's also, in this driver, carbon fiber in the sole. And with TaylorMade, you even get a carbon fiber face. There are generally 2 purposes for new materials and multi-material construction. In the club face, they want to make the face thinner, which should make it faster, keep more speed across more of the face. Using different materials also saves weight. So you want a thinner, hotter face, and you want to save weight. Saving weight gives more weight to the engineers for what they call discretionary weighting. That means basically putting weight where they want it to optimize the center of gravity. And where the center of gravity is in a club is a huge deal. It will tell you how forgiving or stable that club is going to be, how that club is going to launch, how much it's going to spin. So CG and weight savings is a really big deal, but year over year, they're not saving that much weight. They're not changing the CG that dramatically. So again, from year to year, you're not going to see any kind of dramatic 10-yard gain. The second big category of technological advances is face technology. And this is a big deal. If you took this face off this club, it wouldn't be smooth like it is on the front. It would have varying thicknesses. Sometimes there are patterns underneath there, all in an effort to make more of the face perform like the center. So if you get 150 ball speed here, they want you to get 150 ball speed here too, not 143. So that's the face technology they're talking about. It can also go a long way to keeping launch and spin consistent and robust. So again, face technology is a really big deal, but this is where we run up against the real problem of driver distance, and that's the USGA and the R&A's rules. For many, many, many years now, the center of every driver face has been at the legal limit. That means if you swing this 100 miles an hour, you're going to get 150 miles an hour of ball speed. Could they make something that created 160 miles an hour? Absolutely. But they won't, because it won't conform to the rules of golf, and no major OEM wants to make non-conforming equipment. That gets tarnished as being a cheater, and you don't want to be in that boat. So every driver you've probably, certainly if you're a younger golfer, every driver you've ever played has been at that legal limit on the center of the face. So comparing this year's driver to last year's to 5 or even 10 years ago, hitting that ball right off the center of the face is going to give you the same amount of ball speed, and it's why this year's driver is not going to give you 10 yards more distance. The third category of technological innovation is aerodynamics. And aerodynamics, again, are a big deal. But the OEMs would like you to think that because this new club head is more aerodynamic, your pedestrian swing speed is going to magically turn into peak Tiger, and that's just not the case. You're never going to be as long as the guys on tour, at least most of us aren't, because they are the very best in the world at swinging the golf club fast. Aerodynamics can give you small gains. I tested a really aerodynamic driver in the fall, one of the most aerodynamic on the market. And it did seem like it helped me a little bit. I think I got about 2 miles an hour more ball speed out of it, which is great. Anybody would like 2 miles an hour more ball speed. For me, it's about 110 mile an hour swing speed, a little more than 1% bump that I got. And that's good, but it's not 10 more yards. The final piece of the puzzle here is adjustability. Lots of manufacturers like to talk about how adjustable their drivers are, whether that's an adjustable hosel that can screw in and out of the shaft and change the face angle in the loft, or different weights that you can use to move the CG around a little bit. Again, adjustability is a great thing. I was a fitter for a very long time. Any fitter will tell you that adjustable weights and adjustable hosel let you dial in a fit with a level of precision you just can't. I think back to when I first got involved in golf and we were still using hot melt and holding the club while the glue set to get the right face angle, and it seems really primitive now. However, the changes in adjustability just aren't there from year to year. We've had the same generally 2 degrees of face angle or loft adjustability for about a decade. We might be able to move a little bit more weight than we used to, but again, not really a night and day change. So even when you look at something like Cobra's new Future Fit 33 hosel with 33 positions, at the end of the day, it might give you some more options, but the range of adjustability isn't any different than it was 10 years ago. So again, you're not going to find another 10 yards of distance through new adjustability innovations. So are golfers suckers for buying new drivers every year? I don't think so. I just think of drivers or golf clubs in general like iPhones. Every year they get a little bit better, a little bit. The iPhone, maybe the screen gets a little better, the camera gets a little better, the processor gets a little better, but it's not going to be a night and day difference. With drivers, I like to think about the manufacturers pushing up and back on 3 different sliders. You have aerodynamics, you have center of gravity, and you have forgiveness. And maybe to get the aerodynamics they want, they have to make it a little less stable, or they have to make a little concession on CG. And over time, all 3 of those sliders do creep up, and we do keep getting better and better and better. But in any given year, maybe it's more a little push and then a little pull, a little more aerodynamic, a little less stable, a little more stable, a little less aerodynamic, or the CG moves a little bit, raises the spin, but you get more forgiveness out of it. So overall, we're making progress, but it's iterative, it's incremental, it's not 10 yards per year. Now that brings me to my one exception, and that is if you have never been fit for your driver. Any fitter knows you can easily get 10, 20, or 30 yards more by being properly fit. I was a fitter for a long time, and I could tell you probably once a month, I could find somebody 20 more yards because they came in with a club that wasn't fit well for them. So I'm going to throw some numbers over here just to illustrate my point. If you swing the club at 90 miles an hour, you swing the driver 90 miles an hour, which is a little above average for a male golfer, on centered strikes, you're going to get 135 miles an hour of ball speed. Now, let's say you launch the ball a little low with a little too much spin, which is a super common ball flight. I play golf with lots of different people, and it's a common ball flight that I see all the time. So let's say 10 degrees of launch, 3,500 RPMs of spin. Again, not unusual at all. That's going to result in about 200 yards of carry. 200 yards of carry is fine. 200 yards is actually the average male golfer's drive. But that player is leaving at least 20 yards of distance on the table. If that fitter, with the right head, the right shaft, the right loft, can get their launch up to 15 degrees and their spin down to 2,200, that's much closer to optimal, they're going to carry that ball 220 yards. They've picked up 20 yards just by changing their equipment. Not only that, but that lower spin is going to make that ball perform better in the wind. It's going to be a stronger ball flight. And if they're playing somewhere where they actually get rollout, somewhere with firm fairways, they're going to pick up even more distance on the ground after the ball lands. Now I'm going to interrupt myself real quick here to tell you about a great giveaway we are doing with our friends at Club Champion. May is driver fitting month, so they are going to give away a driver fitting and a custom driver. The driver fitting alone is a $175 value, and it's something every golfer should do. You're going to learn a ton about your game, about equipment, and how much distance you might be leaving on the table. But this giveaway goes way beyond that, because whatever driver you get fit for, They are going to build that to perfection and give it to you for free. So the total value of this giveaway could easily be well over $1,000. To enter, all you have to do, 3 simple free things. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and then leave a comment. It'd be great if you leave me an idea about a future video you'd like to see, a question you have about golf equipment. But if you leave a comment that just says, Matt, I'm here for the giveaway, that's okay too, you're still entered. But make sure you enter before the end of the month. At the end of May, driver fitting month, we're going to be picking a winner to get that free fitting and free driver with Club Champion. Now before I wrap up here, I do want to slide in a second exception, exception 1B, which is if you haven't bought a new driver in 5 years or more, I would strongly recommend that you go check out what's new, because you may not gain 10 yards on your centered strikes if your driver is well fit, but you might see your average drive go way up. I know that nobody likes to think about this, nobody likes to talk about this, but very few of us hit the center of the face consistently. We may hit it 250 out of the center of the face, but then when we hit it out here or down here or up here, maybe that face is a little bit open or closed, we're hitting the ball 200 yards, 210, 215, and that's kind of a drag to play golf that way. And you're going to find that over the course of 5 years or more, those iterative improvements that I mentioned, they've added up. And now your miss hit isn't going 210, it's going 220. Maybe it's not going 220, maybe it's going 230, and it's holding the line better. So those improvements, again, they add up. They're going to help your average drive, and they're probably going to help your score as much or more than just getting more distance off that centered strike. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with my latest content. If you have any questions about golf in general, any topics you'd like to see videos about, throw it down in the comments below and I'd be happy to make that video for you. Thanks so much for watching.